Before we get into today's video, I'll ask you if you can like and subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,000 subs. Only 10% of you are subbed. Did you know that? Alright guys, we're back for another Five Nights Tower Defense video, and today we will be covering my opinion on the top 10 best units in the game. Now, obviously, there has been a substantial amount of nerfs recently. Actually, I would say buffs, but I think it's actually been mainly nerfs to units that have actually recently released. Tangle being one of the worst hit, actually. I know, excuse the trait, I actually just got her. It's saying she does 2,000 damage on the Discord at the minute. So she used to do 2,000, now she's doing 1,250. So she would have actually probably made this list, but this is like such a massive nerf to her that she probably won't anymore. Yeah, don't get too pressed about it. I'm going to do this in a different kind of way than I have been before, so it's a little bit less padded out, but let's have a look at the list. Alrighty, so here we are. This is all the units in the game. If the unit isn't here, it's because they're not under consideration, like they're not good enough to be on the top 10. The rest of them are just images I already have saved. So this is the format, so we've obviously got 1 through 10, and we've got also starters and we've got supports. Starters are very weird, like they're never really, like it's very odd and subjective to say where they fit in a top 10. In terms of usefulness, for some stages they could be 1, because you literally can't play the game without them. Or in some things they won't even make it top 10 because you literally don't need starters for certain stages. It's actually unoptimal to bring starters to certain stages, so like it's very odd to rank them, so that's why I've kind of just chosen to put them in a different tier. So we'll kind of work our way from, I think, we'll probably do bottom up from supporters and starters, and then we'll kind of see how all this works. So in terms of supports, right here, I'll just get the best out of the way. So we've got Music Man at the top, and we've got Ballora right behind. These are cooldown boosters. Ballora being slightly worse than Music Man. It's going to be it's going to be in order. Like this is the best, next best, and then following on. Cooldown boosting is just better than any other support at the minute. Range is probably the worst, just because most units already have high base range as is. But yeah, like having like the boosts like this make it so units that are doing like, you know, any kind of slow, like maybe like what Blind Eye Fox he's doing, any kind of money making, anything like that, as long as they're not just doing pure raw damage, and there's no effect to what they're doing, like Phone Guy's slow, you know, a Circus Baby stun. If they're doing stuff like that, then cooldown boosting is just straight up better than damage. If they're not doing that, then, you know, it's identical. It doesn't matter at all. So next up, we're going to have our damage boosters, of course. So I guess we'll also get, you know, our range. We'll just have to find them in this giant list. I do think damage is better than range at this moment in time. Where... Oh lord, yeah, okay, well there's Plushtrap, who's worse than Fredbear. Where is our beautiful boy? Spring Bonnie, where is he at? There he is. Spring Bonnie's better than here, and obviously it's not much point rating the other... have I even got Puppet on this? Oh lord, am I blind? I don't think Puppet is here. Which is slightly annoying. Regardless, like we get it, right? Like these are like the kind of list. It's cooldown, damage, support, range. These are the ones you're going to be using for the most part anyway. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Like this bit doesn't matter too much. Right, in terms of starters, I think this is actually pretty cut and dry. So we've got Purple Guy who's coming in at, that's not Purple Guy. We've got Purple Guy coming in at second tier. Jackpot Freddy has been mercilessly nerfed. He's basically unusable at this point, to be honest with you. It's really sad. If you guys didn't know, like he used to make a lot more money than he used to, but he's just been absolutely gutted, quite honestly. It's actually really sad what they did to Jackpot Freddy. He used to be so much better than he is right now. We've also got Tarnished, who's kind of roughly like in this. He's better than Jackpot at this point for sure. Which is probably slightly better than What damage levels are they doing? Like, I know the Jackpot isn't exactly doing crazy damage, which... no, yeah, no, it's... Yeah, Jackpot's probably still slightly better. Well, no. No, actually, I probably like Witch better than Jackpot. The reason why is Jackpot's doing, like, ever so slightly more damage. And he is making money, but Witch is probably just making more money, so it's probably, like, if you're running for a farm, you're probably just going to use Jackpot instead. Now in terms of starter units, have I actually got Phone Guy in this list and Fortified Endo? I don't. 1 second. Alright, so back we are. We've got Fortified Endo 2, and like these are like the relevant starters in the game. Phone Guy, to me, at this point, is just clearly the best starter. He's doing... It doesn't matter what you're doing as damage, really, at this point. Phone Guy is doing decent... Like, he's doing way more damage than these guys, but his damage isn't what's making him impressive, it's the slow. And he is actually making very good money being an AoE, so yeah. Fortified Endo 2 is like a slightly, probably worse Tarnished, to be honest. They're doing the same DPS, but Tarnished is doing it in 3 placements, whereas Endo 2 needs to be placed 4 times to get that DPS. Now, some maps, I guess you could say it's better to spread out damage, but if you're actually fighting difficult content and you're using these guys for damage, then Tarnished is straight up better, for the most part, so... I'd say that's fairly objective. I don't think many people are going to be crying about this. Maybe people are going to be sad that Jackpot is so low. Maybe like they're going to bait about Witch Toy Chica, but I think Witch Toy Chica just does what Jackpot's doing, but better, to be honest. Their damage is both like pretty pitiful. Anyway, let's get right into the top 10. Alright, so here we are. So we're going to start off at number 10. And number 10 definitely upset a lot of people last time. We've had quite a lot of power creep since then. But number 10, despite many people having forgotten about him, is Galleon Foxy. Now, why is Galleon Foxy good, may I ask? Well, it's certainly not because of his damage. I mean, bro is doing, what's that, 1250 DPS? 3750 with all 3 of him. Obviously, that's not very good. The reason he is good is this: 60% slow with Splash. 60% slow with Splash is busted, and he's a very reasonable price for doing this, and he does make it onto usually what teams I'm running. Obviously, this is not an optimal team, but Galleon, I do believe, does make it onto most teams, just because he is doing that slow, and that does combo very well with the other units on this list. Now, next up, I'm wondering, you know, a lot of sister location units have actually made it on, rather surprisingly, and the next one is Mendo. Mendo is actually very interesting. If you're just reading what he's doing at base, his stats have been changed since release. He's been buffed, actually, so he used to do so now he's doing 2000 DPS, and you can place 3 of him, I do believe. That's what it says anyway. And he spawns bear traps, and he's doing, he spawns 300 of the max. Now, I don't actually know the specific damage that each of these bear traps do. Even if they were doing like insane damage, he's probably around number 9 on this list. But don't get me wrong, being number 9 on this list is exceptional. Being number 9, I'm pretty sure... Yeah, no, okay, he is the premium pass version. Tangle is very good still, but she has been nerfed pretty substantially. But anyway, at number 9, we do have Mendo. At number 8, we do have a old favorite, well, an evolved version of an old favorite, that is, and that is Animdude. This is a shiny version of him, but that's because of the index. I only have the shiny version, I don't have the regular. He was brutally nerfed on release. That doesn't stop him from still being really good, and the reason for that is this ability right here, where he can just attack twice. He's also, of course, very, very cheap, which means that he's very, like, you know, you can place him at the start of most rounds. And he's doing pretty solid damage just to start off with. You can only place 1 of him. You used to be able to place 3 of him, which is where the massive nerf comes in there. But just for the fact that you can actually place, that he's doing like all this damage, Splash, which is a very good damage type, he's making a good amount of money. Animdude does make it to number 7, or number 8, sorry, on our list. Now, next up, we have a Wild West favorite here. We have Outlaw Freddy. Now, Outlaw Freddy has only made it on just from his sheer damage alone, and he is good damage type, so he is doing Splash. You can place 3 of him, and he's doing a very hefty amount of damage, high range. He's just like he's a brute force unit for sure. So at number 7 we have Outlaw Freddy. Now next up, there might be a huge upset here, but yeah, he's fallen off quite a bit, but Goliath is now at number 6 on this list, and the reason for this is like the massive nerfs that have kind of struck him, and also just the pure level of I don't know, just the pure level of power creep we've been experiencing. You don't really have the luxury to wait to get to 100,000 anymore. You used to be able to, but at this point, like, he's probably a very good endless unit still. The reason why he's still up here despite his cost is because he is he's just doing absurd damage, to be honest with you. A full AoE is obviously still exceptional. So I'm still liking what this guy is doing, but he's definitely not as good as he used to be. And at number 5 on our list, this is going to make a lot of people upset, is Circus Baby. And you're like, I hear the people right now, how the hell have you got Circus Baby over Goliath? She's actually doing very good damage, for the reason, there's a good reason, but she's actually doing very good damage. She's doing 6,000 DPS, splash stun, and there lies why she is up here. Doing splash stun in this meta right now is so unbelievably needed. She is expensive, but the fact that you can just stop enemies from moving, combined with Galleon, combined with Phone Guy, the constant slow with all these units, and you're stunning them, and Circus Baby is doing good damage still, makes her like all the way, like she is definitely up at this point. So there's Circus Baby at number 5. At number 4, we have a free-to-play player's dream, being incredibly easier to obtain actually, and that is It's Me. It's Me is a 1 placement unit. If it had any more placements, it'd probably be number 1. To be honest, it would be very close to it. It's Me is a 1 placement unit that's doing 10,000 DPS. If it was doing 20,000, Jesus. It's doing 10,000 DPS with Cone AoE, very good range, and it's actually relatively cheap to upgrade, and it does give you a lot of money. This unit is absolutely ridiculous. Considering how easy it is to get compared to most units on this list, yeah, this guy is like exceptional. Just being able to place a unit that's just doing this level of damage, not having to worry about multiple placements and multiple costs, just being able to shove this down and you know it's going to perform well. Yeah, getting this guy Shiny Vengeance, holy crap, it's going to be doing a lot of damage. So that's It's Me at number 4. So at number 3 on our list, I do believe we have the Clan unit. If I can just find where he is, there's our boy. Yeah, so at number 3 here we have Reactor Freddy. I think I've got his name right, Jesus. Might have butchered it. Let me just scroll. There he is. So Reactor Freddy here is doing 12,000 DPS with all 3 with a continuous splash. He is doing, like, that's very good damage. Obviously, that's basically like, again, he's another one of these units where it's just like he's just doing very high damage, so he makes it onto the list. He is slightly out-edging It's Me, but there is actually probably a decent argument that you can maybe put It's Me above Reactor Freddy, just because Reactor Freddy has to be placed all 3 times fully upgraded, whereas It's Me is replicating like 90% of the damage he's doing with 1. The only problem with that is with traits. Having a trait makes you infinitely stronger when you have multiple placements, because that trait is obviously giving damage to each individual unit. So if Reactor Freddy has Vengeance, it's going to be 3 times as effective as It's Me, because there's 3 Reactor Freddys, there's only 1 It's Me, if that makes any sense at all. So that's why I'd probably put Reactor Freddy over It's Me, but you can make probably an argument over if you want. So at number 2, not too many people surprised who've probably watched my content before, Valkyrie Chica is at number 2, and that's all the, I think it's like Valkyrie Chica Prime or something, Valkyrie Prime. Valkyrie Prime is just doing so much damage that doesn't really matter. Like it mildly matters that she's only doing single target damage. Let's pull her up here. Yeah, so she's doing 7,500 DPS per unit, and you can place 4 of them. Very good range. Obviously, she does cost 60k, which does actually matter. But she, yeah, 30k DPS. She is doing the highest DPS in the game, if and only if you're not like talking about damage types at all. If you're not caring about damage types, Valkyrie Cheek is doing the most damage in the game. But I'd like to do something that's probably going to annoy people. I'm proposing that there is enough of a difference here. There is a gap between number 2 and number 1, and this is going to annoy people, but number 1 is Astral Bonnie. Now, why is there a gap between Valkyrie Chica and Astral Bonnie, I hear you ask? Well, it really just comes down to the fact that Astral Bonnie is just doing a very similar level of damage to what Chica is doing. Basically, yeah, I mean, he's doing 24,000 damage. And I think what Valkyrie's doing 30,000 damage. The difference is this boy's doing splash, so he's just doing infinitely more damage than Chica is. And in most stages, if you've been playing the game recently, in like in hell mode, especially with how fast these guys are going, you know, like doing single target usually isn't actually that good. You have enemies on top of enemies on top of enemies for the most part, and Valkyrie's only going to be able to deal 1 at a time, and they usually have enough health where Valkyrie's going to be stuck on that enemy for a good period of time, whereas Astral Bonnie here is just going to be killing them constantly. He's going to be doing his 24,000 with all 3 of them constantly. He's going to be making you more money constantly. There is a gap between Valkyrie Chica Prime and Astral Bonnie. Truly a built different unit, for sure. But anyway, that wraps up our list, I think. I don't really know, like, top 10 to 15, there's probably, like, a wide range of units. You can go like, oh, but this guy should be here. Oh, this guy should be here. I think probably around this range, I don't know, man. The way maybe I just view the game differently to people. It's not just a DPS simulator a lot of the time. That's why, like, Galleon's on this list. That's why Circus Baby's on this list. That's why Astral Bonnie is higher than this, because technically, if you're just looking at flat DPS, it's not considering damage type, then Valkyrie is better. But there is actually a gap between Astral and Valkyrie. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about my top 10 in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.